Yo, welcome to Adam Fitness with Coach A. I am Coach A, and this is the YouTube channel that aims to bring you guys in gym quality coaching and workouts for your at-home and garage gym needs. Maybe you're a garage gymmer, maybe you're a home workout person, maybe you're stuck here because of COVID, whatever country you happen to be in. Yes, American friends, there are people from other countries that watch this YouTube channel, believe it or not, which is pretty freaking awesome if you think about it. So, this is day number 186 of our at-home programming. It is September 17th here in beautiful Cleveland, Ohio. Fall has started on time, actually, for once, and it is awesome. So here is what we are looking at today. Today is going to be our last working day of the pistol work that we've been doing. If you haven't been paying attention to this, or you haven't happened to hit one of these days for a workout, basically it's two different options here. We're looking at 4 rounds of 5 each, 10 each, 15 each, alternating pistols, right, left, etc., and a 1-minute rest. We're looking to build up our capacity, build up our muscular endurance to this movement, and build up our comprehension of it. Or if we don't have pistols, we can be practicing pistols, in which case probably about 10 minutes. Maybe 12 or so, based on how much good work you're getting in, whether or not you want to continue that good work, et cetera, et cetera. That's just kind of a rough estimate of how long it should take somebody that has comprehension of the pistol to be able to do those 4 rounds with the rest. If we have been doing these, let's continue to progress. Keep in mind, next week is going to be our testing week, so we can see where we're at. So I don't want you guys to skip because you get bored, get the work in, and capitalize on it next week. The progression for those of us, people keep asking me questions about this. The progression for those of us that have the pistol movement in our repertoire and have been doing the sets, like let's say there's somebody out there that started at 15 reps each on week 1, keep tacking an extra rep on there. Maybe try and do them a little bit quicker in your working sets before you get to that minute rest. The minute rest is always a minute rest, so theoretically that would also allow us to look at our overall time and kind of cut that time down like a workout. Moving on for our workout today, we have 2.5-minute AMRAPs. Yes, that is a strange number, but I wanted to get to 10. What have you. We're doing 4 of them, by the way. That's how we get to 10 with 2.5-minute AMRAPs. So 2.5-minute AMRAP of 10 dumbbell squat snatches. Bam, into a squat right side. Bam, into a squat left side. 50-35 is the RX weights. We're alternating the arms like we normally would for a power snatch. If you have a very hard time doing an actual smooth squat snatch, it is perfectly fine for you guys to power snatch and overhead squats. Okay, power it up, stand, set it, take it down to the squat, stand, bring it back down to the ground, and switch. So that first 2.5-minute AMRAP is 10 of those, alternating side to side, and 20 double unders. You're then going to rest 1.5 minutes. Now, when you get to the second 2.5-minute AMRAP, you're going to do pretty much the same thing, except they're going to be power snatches instead of squat snatches. Again, 1.5 minutes rest. So since we're changing movements, we're not going to continue to progress on our same score. We're going to restart each of these AMRAPs over. When you get to the third AMRAP, we're going back to the squat snatches. And when you get to the fourth AMRAP, we're going back again to the power snatches. So first and third 2.5 minutes is going to be a squat snatch. Second and fourth 2.5 minutes is going to be a power snatch. If that is super confusing, stick around. I will walk you through it as well as modifications in the garage. This is going to be our last day of practice or improvement or whatever you might want to call that, of steady, consistent work before we get into that pistol testing next week. So if you guys are able to run through, do your 5 to let's say 15 each side sets of pistols, then awesome. Let's either try and progress on the reps, progress on the quality of the movement, or kind of work our way up in terms of range of motion, stuff like that. If we're still working on things, one of the things we can do while we're practicing our skill stuff, our pistol work, is go through some of the movements, whether it's with an assist, the band under the butt, squatting down to a bench, maybe even holding a weight out in front of us to help us balance out, whatever it is.
and then putting in some mobility work in between there, whether it's doing some of that ankle mobility work, stretching the hips out, if it's a quad thing, rolling those quads out, getting as much of a quad stretch from the couch, or just pulling the heel to the butt as we can, but trying to get ourselves into a better position so we're making progress, so that we test next week, we're testing pistols in a substantially better movement position than we would have started these pistols in, what is this now, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. As far as consistency here, we're not going to be testing these necessarily the same way we've been practicing them. So I don't want you guys to build up with the anticipation that you're just going to try and do one more pistol per round next week. It's going to be a little different than that. The whole concept of adding one each week is basically just you guys building up your capacity for work. So we're talking about both dumbbell snatches for the workout today. Remember, you have your squat, and then you have your power, which is pretty much that one from the ground punching up overhead that we've always done. So the variation we're looking at here is going to be that full squat, and then talk about the overhead squat after the power if that's the option we're going to go through. So remember, just like with the barbell here, what I'm looking for is the ability to transition down smoothly from the hip extension into that squatting position, probably before the dumbbell actually gets there, okay? In which case, if I can't get there smoothly, I'm going to get it, I'm going to set myself, and then I'm going to go into my squatting position from there. Again, remember, we're looking at 10 alternating arms, so I'm going to transition, switch, tap into my squat, just like I would have with the power. Pairing this up with our 20 double unders, jack that heart rate up a little bit, get the shoulders working a little bit, but also tighten your calves up a little bit so you guys got to work a little harder to get into that full squatting depth. Remember, each piece is its own, so we're looking at 2.5 minutes of 10 and 20, a full rest, then 2.5 minutes of 10 and 20 all over again with no score rolling over to that next piece.
Stay tuned for movement modifications.
All right, when it comes to modifying and adapting these dumbbell snatches, if you guys are looking at a barbell, because of the distance and time it would take to take that barbell all the way down to the ground for both movements, I would personally rather see people go from the hang position. So it's either hang up into the power or hang down into that full squat, okay? In which case I'm still going to pair it up with my dubs, and the reps can still stay at 10 and 10. If you're super fast and efficient at the full from the bottom of the squat position, then that's fine. Obviously, the score is probably going to be a little lower or a little less. If we're going kettlebell, same thing as the dumbbells, as we've talked about before. If you don't have the optimal dumbbell weight for what you guys are trying to do, if it is a heavier dumbbell, there's nothing you can do about that, then let's go with a clean, okay? Something that's easier to catch, let it land on the shoulder there. You don't have to worry about the active mobility overhead as well. If we're going with something lighter, that's fine. Roll with it. The squat's still going to be challenging, and if anything, you guys are just going to be capable of more reps. Okay, if we're only looking at a band for this, we're probably just going to simply modify the movement here. All right, in which case we can do an overhead squat with the band for our squat snatch, and we can do a good morning RDL with the band for our power snatch. Okay, you guys can always take it, loop it over the traps, do your good mornings, and then maybe do some behind the head press if you want. Same thing can kind of go for that overhead squat. We can do some good mornings and then the overhead squats. We can do some behind the head press and then the overhead squats, what have you. All right, for the double unders, same things we've done the whole time. So singles with the jump rope. If I don't have my double unders down, I can do jumping jacks. I can laterally hop. I can skip touch and maybe set a kettlebell or something in front of me, tap it with the feet. Any of those work. For this, I would probably try and keep it as simple as possible. Something that you're used to, like a jumping jack, so you guys are able to keep moving as much as you can, and that score ends up being that much higher.